you're struggling with the pronunciation of these words in English language, then you're not alone. English language pronunciation is a little bit tricky because there are a lot of rules that exist and a lot of exceptions as well. Because the language words, they are borrowed from different other language, the regional accent is different as well, and that all of these things makes it very harder for non-native speakers to improve their pronunciation. But in this video, I have created 7 simple easy rules, and these rules are going to fix 90% of your pronunciation issues. So without any delay, let's get started. Okay, before getting ahead with these rules, it is important to understand the difference of consonants and vowel sounds in English language. So if you're not familiar, check out this video. So in English language, we have 2 types of sounds, voiceless and voiced sounds. So when we are producing voiced sound, we are experiencing a vibration in our throat here. Okay, just like if I'm saying z, there is a vibration in my throat, and this is the identification of voiced sound. On the other hand, we have voiceless sounds. When we produce voiceless sounds, there is no vibration in our throat. For example, simple sounds like p, s. These are just being produced from your mouth. There is no vibration in your throat. Okay, so the first rule is the pronunciation of ed sounds in English, which most native speakers pronounce wrong. So in English, we have 3 ed sounds like t, d, and id. Now, if your word is ending with a voiceless sound, for example, walk, then the pronunciation would be t at the end. For example, walk. Now walk is ending with a K sound, which is a soft sound, so it is not exactly from your vocal cords, it's from your mouth. So in that case, we would pronounce this as walked, laughed. Second rule is the pronunciation of d sound. So if your word is ending with a voiced sound, the sound that you are producing from your throat, then the past participle would be pronounced as d sound. Look at this example, played, played. Here the word play is ending with a y sound, and y is a voiced sound. So in case of past participle, it would be pronounced as played, played. Lastly, we have id sound. So if your word is ending with a t or a d, it would be pronounced as id sound. Look at these examples. For example, needed, wanted. Okay, so the second rule is the flap T sound. So if your T is between 2 words, it is not pronounced as T. It is pronounced as a very soft and a fast D, or it is also called as ara, ara sound. Now look at these examples. For example, this word, it is commonly pronounced as butter, but it is not butter. It is butter, butter. It's ara sound in case of t sound. Other than that, we have city. It is not city, it's city, city. So a very soft d sound. And the most commonly mispronounced word is water. It's not water. It's again, the t is between 2 words, so it is ara sound. So it would sound like water, water. Okay, so the third rule in English pronunciation is the plural S sound. Look at these 3 words, cats, dogs, dishes. Now these 3 words, the ending is pronounced differently in each case. Sometimes it is giving a S sound, Z sound, or dishes is sound. Okay, so if your word is ending with a voiceless sound, then the pronunciation would be a S sound. Okay, here is one thing that you need to remember, that we are focusing on the sound here. For example, look at the word cat. We have to look at the pronunciation of the last word of the word cat. Cat. It's t sound at the end. We are not using our vocal cords, we are only using our mouth. So focus on the sound, not on the exact word. Okay, so in case of cat, it's a voiceless sound. So if we convert cat into plural, so the pronunciation would be cats, books, cup. Second, in case of voiced sound, it is pronounced with a z sound. For example, dogs, bags, rings. The next sound that the plural give is the is sound. For example, if your word is ending with a hussing sound like sh, ch, z, then in that cases the plural would be converted into a more is sound. For example, dishes, boxes, watches, buses. The next is the pronunciation of C in English language. So BC is basically pronounced in two ways. Sometimes it is giving the sound of an S and sometimes it is a K sound. So here is one simple tip that you can remember. If the C is followed by E, I, Y, it will give a S sound. In all the other cases, it will give a K sound. Let's take a look at some examples. For example, city, ceiling, cycle, and in this K sound we have cup, cat, glass. Okay, so next we have is OUGH sound. This sound has no fixed pronunciation in each word, and unfortunately there is no specific rule as well, so you have to memorize with the help of practice. Now let's take a look at some examples. For example, thought, though, through, rough. You see, same segment of word but a different pronunciation in each case. So you have to do a lot of practice to understand this sound. Next we have is the relation between vowel and consonant and how the sound change and they vary depending on the location of the R or the vowel in the word. So the first one we have is vowel plus R. If you have vowel before the R, then the R is more long and more twisted. For example, car, more, bird. So did you notice that in all of these examples, the sound was more twisted? Car, car, bird, more. And the second is a consonant plus Y. If you have a consonant before Y, then it is not Y sound, it would be more like a I sound. For example, happy. Next we have is the consonant plus R sound. So if you have a consonant before an R, then the pronunciation would be more harder. You know, it puts a lot of stress on the R. For example, tree, drink. So did you notice in that case we are pronouncing a very strong R? Drink, tree. And we are done with all the 7 rules of English language pronunciation. These were some journal hacks that I have prepared, and these hacks covers the basics of language. Of course, there are some exceptions that exist and there are some changes in the sound as well. So what you can do on your behalf is to practice as much as you can. If you are a beginner student, rather than focusing on the fluency, focus more on the patterns and the sounds. Speak slowly at the beginning and gradually you can develop your fluency. You could also listen to some Native American speakers to build that accent, and at the same time you can use YouTube and many other resources like British Council, BBC Learning English or Lingua House and many other resources to improve your English. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. You can comment and share your suggestions with me and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.